Thomas Hennigan in the house. Good to see you, Thomas.
How's it going, sir?
Doing okay?
Yes, sir.
Been a fun year so far, right?
Yeah, it's been pretty fun.
Pretty good start. What have you been doing better this year than maybe you did last year? Because you had a good year last year, too.
Most of the plays last year that ended up being like big plays for us, it was more like me and Josh kind of improvising on certain plays that didn't really work exactly.
It's like you guys doing a little stuff in the backyard, right?
Yeah. That's kind of what our thing was. It was, just go out and make plays. But this year it's more. It's still kind of like the same, like go out and make plays factor, but it's more organized and it's more like built into the scheme.
Are you more wide out this year than you were last year? A little more?
Last year I was kind of moved around wherever like they needed me. This year it's the same thing, but I'm more of a true wide receiver this year.
Were you number 10 last year?
I was
number 7 this year, right?
Number 7 this year.
What created the switch? I mean, that's either way is fine, but what made the switch happen?
I wasn't really like, I didn't choose 10. As a sophomore,
you were handed that jersey.
You're one of the last to pick, so and my girlfriend's volleyball number's number 7.
That's not bad. Not bad.
And single digits make you look a little faster.
Single digits are huge. Even the defensive linemen like single digits these days. I mean, you'd see numbers on down toward 98. Had a lot of numbers between 70 and the late 90s.
Yeah.
But now, very few numbers there. But you see all these single digit people. They love it.
They're fun.
Let me ask you about this one game I wrote down because it kind of caught my attention the other day. How did that Pinecrest? Did you guys scrimmage Pinecrest earlier this year when you went down east?
Yeah, we did.
How did that go for you? Because I saw that team. They're ranked like in the top 100 in the nation right now.
Surprisingly, our defense, we handled them very well. I mean, yeah, they were a lot better than the previous year we scrimmaged them. But yeah, we were able to move the ball on them. We scored a couple times on them in the short time period that we got to scrimmage them, and our defense played well against them.
What's been your toughest game so far this year?
Obviously, Northern.
I like that 7-on-7 matchup over there in Northern. I like that one. Tucker Horde versus Thomas Hennigan. I love that 7-on-7 hookup there.
Yeah, I'm pretty close with CJ and Tucker over there, and it was a tough one, and it just came down to we couldn't put the ball in the end zone, and they did. So that's
and they did more in the second half. Looks like in the second half they took over. You guys were. Was Finney injured in the second half, or did he get cramps?
I believe it was in the middle of the third quarter. He went down with a knee injury, and then when they started running the ball heavy on us, one of our D tackles came out hurt. So, not blaming it on the injuries, but we just fell apart. How
are you a better team this year than you were last year? In what ways you can think of?
Nothing against the senior class. They were a good senior class last year, but it was hard for Coach Rolfes to come in and persuade all those guys that have been doing a certain thing for 3 years and then come in their senior year and just kind of like tell them there's a new way of doing things. And it wasn't on either one of them, but then there was a senior skip day at the end of the year that caused us to lose to Providence, and
that was in the playoffs.
That was the first round of the playoffs where it was a tough one. But then this year, what makes us different from last year, Coach Ayers and Coach Rolfes came up with the disease of me, and you can't have the disease of me and play at Northwest.
Yeah, I've heard the coach say some things like that. It's not about yourself; it's about the team, and you got to buy into all that team information. What's your role like on the team? Are you doing defense as well as offense, or just offense?
I've been playing both ways.
Both ways.
Yeah.
What's your overall role like with this team?
What do you ask?
As far as what's your job on the field, as far as what you need to do to help the team, make the team better?
On offense, I still feel like I'm that go-to guy when it comes down to it, Coach knows that he can just put the ball in my hands and we can make stuff happen. But in other ways, that if teams do start to double team me like Northern did, then there's guys on the other side of the field, Trey Turner, Cloud.
Yeah, it's interesting because last year you may not have had that luxury. But you had some guys, I'm sure, to go with you last year. But you guys have got guys like Turner and Cloud. It gives you a whole lot more options and doesn't put all. Can't be double teamed all the time. They can't put everybody defensively now.
You're right.
You got some help.
We do have help on the other side.
And those guys are young guys. So how do you help those guys? Help those guys come along. I know they know a lot already because Trey will tell you he's a good kid. I know him over the years, and the Cloud kid comes in. He's got a pretty good background too. But how do you help those kids? Help bring those guys along?
I think it's the biggest thing is just they handle the stage very well. They handle the pressure. But I think the biggest thing for them is, like, say they don't make the big play or they drop the pass or they miss a block. It's not, you know, what I struggled with last year. It's like you can't just, like, you got to have 3 seconds, think about it for 3 seconds, then play's over, move on to the next one. So just got to keep them positive and, you know, never get down on the play.
We talked about what you can do for them. What can you do for yourself to help yourself get better and work better this year? What are you doing to get better?
Well, in the off season, during the spring, I played on a 7-on-7 team, NC Elite, out
So
of.
you had your own travel 7-on-7 football team?
Yeah.
Man, that's getting interesting. I heard that. Well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Tell us about that a little bit.
Mook Reynolds from Northern,
Okay,
he was down there with a guy named Myron Bell, who played at Michigan State and Steelers for a while.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of good Charlotte guys that are down there. Not Simeon Gatlin over from Dudley. He goes down there, trains.
Right.
Connell Young. You know, so.
Oh
like,
yeah, to Dudley as well, the running back. Yeah.
The majority of the guys that you hear about around here, besides Hooker, I don't know why Hooker hasn't been down there yet, but the majority of them, they've been down to Charlotte to work out.
And that's an elite 7-on-7 travel team.
7-on-7 elite. It'll be about, when I went down for the tryout, Overton as well also went down there, and Jeremiah Brown. But when I went down, it was about 40 guys or so for the tryout. And what they do is you'll try out week in and week out on a Saturday. It's just Saturday morning practices, but they'll put you on the travel team. So like if you're going to travel with the team next weekend or 2 weekends or whatever, they'll the other 16 guys or how many it is won't travel. They'll only take 24 each week.
Does that leave you any time at all for your basketball?
See, that was the struggle. It was you know, I knew going into my sophomore year that I was dual sport player, but then I think after like football kind of I became more known as.
Are you still dual sport now?
As of now I am.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, it's just kind of football. Just kind of I like it more, so it's naturally going to take up more of my time. I still love playing basketball, but it's just I'm gonna go to college for football, not basketball.
Yeah, and you like to help the basketball team too,
Yeah.
I think, because I don't think you started last year. You guys had a good start, but you're just as much involved as the starters were because you came off the bench.
Yeah.
Got a lot of good playing time too, and you should be even better this year from what I hear about.
Yeah, our basketball team will be pretty good this year.
Looking forward to that season, but now the football season, what are some things you've got to do to make this a very successful season? You guys made the playoffs last year, which after a while that's fun, but you got to win, and you got to get probably to the third or fourth round to make this a good season.
Yeah, you know, this was Coach Ross's first year, like having a full off season with us, and 4 or 5 days out of the week, we had team in the weight room lifting weights, and you know, because our thing was to win state championships, you can't settle for being Greensboro teams. You got to go through Charlotte because that's where state championships are won. So, and they preached to us that it starts in the weight room, and it truly does. So we had the whole team down there, and we were working our butts off every day.
And what about from a college standpoint? When you get through a high school, have you narrowed down any colleges you want to attend? Got some guys in mind you're interested in?
I'm interested in NC State, Charlotte, and Duke, and Clemson, and Virginia Tech. Those are the guys that have been looking at me, majority. And Elon offered me, well, that was my first offer last weekend.
That's the first one then, Elon.
That was my first one, yeah.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I do like the local ACC schools as well.
You know, if I could have a fantasy quarterback receiver combination I'd like to see on the same team on the same field at the same time, let's see you and Matt Pulaski get together.
Oh, yeah?
Matt Pulaski, that'd be a great hookup, great connection there.
Yeah, I remember when I was in middle school, my sister and Matt are the same age, and I remember going out to the football games, and I was like, it was him and Reed Baxter. Those guys
could run all day long.
Yeah, those guys were just fun to watch, and I just remember thinking, I was like, you know, I'm going to be out there one day. And,
you ever get to watch him any in college, Matt?
No, I haven't been out to a Guilford college game, but, you know, like, my dad comes in, Pulaski threw for over 500 again. I was like,
it's amazing. He's averaging 5 touchdown passes a game.
It's crazy.
I think the big key is the big zero, no interceptions so far. I think it's what makes this game. No interceptions yet. And he's got a good run going. They've got a chance to do some good. They got a good receiver there too. This kid Adam Smith out of Davie County. Last week I think he caught for like maybe 115 yards in the game and had 3 touchdowns. He had just some crazy. If you ever maybe on YouTube, he had one great catch. He went off 2 defenders. He hauled it in for the big touchdown. I think in maybe the second quarter, and that was his 33rd touchdown for his career, which broke the team record. I mean, they're doing some great things over there. Got another kid I think out of Northwest who was a big lineman, Tyler Campbell.
Oh yeah,
he's over there too.
Yeah, he comes out to a lot of the games. Campbell does.
Now, talking about famous sports people over the years and what they've said, some quotes. Let me give you a quote, see if what this famous sports person, you can tell me who made this quote from over the years. The quote would be, "If you're as good as you think you are, you'll get the ball."
You know, I've heard it. I don't know who said it though.
Jared Rolfus said at one of your practices one day. I wrote that down when I was there that day. I thought it was kind of interesting what Coach Rolfus. That was right before you guys were headed to Pinecrest that next day, I think, for the scrimmage. You guys were working out back in August, and you guys hit the road the next. That was an early morning scrimmage. If I'm mistaken, maybe about a 9 a.m.
On the bus by 4:15 or something.
You just kidding?
It was something like it was be at the school at 4:45 or something like that.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Here's a big question for you too, just between me and you and the whatever. All of this is worth it, right?
Oh, it's so much fun.
That's early. And that's putting in some time. That's some dedication there. Everybody showed up.
Everybody was there.
That's good, and that's good stuff. That's what you like to hear. Who's been you mentioned the toughest opponent. Who's probably the toughest player on your team you go up against in practice every day?
Toughest player
On your team.
You know, it's got to be either Zach Tyler or Cody Miller. Cody Miller is, you know, I don't go up against Zach a whole lot because he's more inside the box linebacker, but outside, Cody Miller, most people don't know about him. He is a dog at corner. He takes zero crap from zero players, and he just has a swagger about him when he steps on the
What's
field.
his position again?
He's a cornerback.
Cornerback, okay.
He's number 6, and he is
Gotcha.
just, you know, he's a really good cornerback.
Who's the toughest guy you've gone up against maybe in the surrounding area, the teams you play around here in the county area?
This year?
This year, yeah.
This year, it's probably got to be Horde from Northern, even though he's not really a corner. But Max Maynard over there at Northern,
Pretty tough too, yeah.
Yeah, there haven't been not too many DBs that I've gone up against that.
What makes Horde a tough player? Because he's not very big. I interviewed him back at the Guilford College 7-on-7 scrimmages. Got to work with him because he made this crazy catch against Western Anna. Went way up and got it. What makes him such a tough opponent?
He doesn't let his size beat him. You know, he plays a whole lot bigger than he is, and you know he plays with a lot of heart, and I admire that about him.
Hope he does something someday because you like to see guys like that. I would rather have a guy like that in the long run because he's going to be giving that same heart every time he comes out there as opposed to a guy may have a little bit more height or skill or whatever. You'd like to have a guy like that around.
When I watch Tucker on film, it reminds me a whole lot of like a high school like Danny Woodhead or a Julian Edelman, just small little shifty guys that are just fun to watch.
What about Grimsley? What have you been watching some of their film? I'm sure checking them out. What about Grimsley? I know you cannot overlook an opponent. You took care of them last year. I think Jake Smith actually was your backup quarterback, ran the show last year over at Grimsley. What about Grimsley this year? What do you expect out of them? What are you looking to get?
Much improved from last year, and they think they can beat us, and we're going to go out there and prove that there's a different level between us and them. And you know, we have to go in there with confidence, like we're the better team, and you know they are a much improved team. And there's a lot of good guys over there. There's a lot of good players.
They've got some guys like Malik Stimson, but the quarterback's available and he's playing. He plays very well, and Bruce Davis is as good as any athlete. I haven't heard a lot about Bruce this year, but it may be the fact he's playing so much. Sometimes it's crazy. You'll be playing so much, you can't put up a lot of stats because you're so busy trying to just take your responsibility. You don't have time to make the big plays.
Yeah. You know, Grimsley is, you know, they do have a bunch of good athletes, and we're watching them on film against East Forsyth last week. Yeah, the scoreboard didn't show exactly a tough matchup, but when you go out there and watch like the whole game film, it's just a bunch of big plays from East. Like when they're scrapping at each other, you know, you can't really tell the difference between them.
Yeah, now you said you play some defense as well as offense. When you think about going to college, when you make that move down the road, is it all about offense when you go to college, or could you play defense here as well?
Oh, I can play wherever they need me to play, but if I had a choice, it'd definitely be offense.
And the defense is definitely defensive back, right? Like a corner or a safety, or what do you play?
In the past, it's been corner up until this week. This week, I'll be more of like a strong safety because of the sets Grimsley runs. It'll be more of a roll down safety.
Do you like the up and coming running in type hits or just making a straight tackle? Because I mean, Luke Kuechly, he used to load right into guys, but it slowed him down a little bit, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think it's definitely easier to just run up and hit him than instead of making an open field tackle. But when you do make a solo tackle, there's some about it that's special.
Who's your team captain this year?
Team captains are myself, Zach Tyler, Justin Stone, and Jarrett Brayman, who's hurt.
Justin Stone, and who else? Who was it?
Jarrett Brayman.
Jarrett Brayman. Justin Stone, is he a linebacker?
He's a linebacker.
He's having a pretty good year, isn't he?
Yeah.
I didn't know much about. I didn't really know his name at all coming in. A lot of your names, I remember your name and seen a lot of names before from the team, but did not know much about him coming in. And I think he had a solid game. I think tonight we saw you guys taking on Northern.
Yeah, he had the one touchdown for us. He had the interception for a touchdown. And
That's right. Yeah.
The thing about Justin, he moved from Texas in January, so. Yeah, most people wouldn't know about him, but he came in with the solid work ethic, and he's really one of the strongest people you'll ever meet. He's probably the only guy I've ever seen for his front squat to be higher than his back squat.
You mentioned the Cody Miller guy, defensive back, right? Was there another Miller on the team last year on the defensive line?
Kerry Miller.
What about the big wrestler guy? Was that him?
Yes. No. Kerry Miller was a senior last year.
Yeah, Kerry Miller. Was he the wrestler guy?
He's the wrestler guy.
He's
the state champion.
That guy, to me, I mean, I could hire that guy as a bodyguard. That guy was tough. Plus, I think he had some of this too. Pretty smart guy.
Yeah,
it worries me when you have a guy that strong, that tough, and that competitive. It's also very smart as well.
Yeah, he is. Kerry. But the funny thing about Kerry is, off the field, one of the nicest people you ever meet. I saw him every day at church. Me and him went to the same church.
What church was that?
Westover.
Oh, really? Over on what is that street there? The old Mears Chapel Road.
Yeah,
Great church.
That's it. Yeah. And our moms are good friends, and Kerry's just a great guy to be around.
Where's he at in college?
He's wrestling at App State.
Yeah. He'll do well, I think. I think he's got a good future ahead of him.
Yeah.
If you could turn back the time and come up with a big game or a big play and do it all over again, is there one play or one game, maybe from this year, maybe from the past couple of years, you'd like to do over again?
Yes. The one that haunts me is last year against Northern, the opening drive. I had an arrow route that Josh kind of lofted the ball up, and I hate to say it, but I got a little alligator arms, and I short-armed that catch, but I short-armed it, and I missed the ball, and it would have been a touchdown to tie it up at 7 early in the game. But that one play in particular still's in my mind.
What's been the best catch you've ever made that you kind of have to remember? There's got to be a great catch you remember one day. I can't believe you made that catch. Just kind of a lot of lasting memories of that.
Against Reagan, at Reagan last year, it was, we were trailing by 14 in the fourth quarter, but it was a streak route. We hardly threw the ball downfield last year. It was more kind of dink and dunk and screens, but the one opportunity where they threw me a deep ball, I just kind of went up and I just took my hands up, and I just remember wrestling for it in the air, and then I came down with it, and I thought I was out of bounds, but I stayed in bounds, and the DB kind of fell, and it just, because I never gone up and go for a ball like that in a game before, and so that was probably the greatest catch that I remember.
Now you sound like this year, maybe as opposed to last year, maybe you guys are going downfield a lot more this year.
That was the goal coming in, that we were gonna, we're still gonna do our thing with the short and intermediate routes, but the one thing that it's harder to sustain longer drives. So 7 points is 7 points if you do it in 10 plays or one play. So that's kind of the thing.
How about this Ellison kid? Good kicker for you?
Yeah, he's a good kicker. Yeah.
What year is he? Junior or senior?
He'll be a senior.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Good senior class this year and a good junior class too, probably, right? For you guys.
Small senior class.
Is that right?
There's probably 7 or less seniors at Northwest, and we have a lot of young talent.
Is it a junior-based team, or even
I'd probably say 70 to 80% juniors.
So you think maybe next year? I mean, you want to do well this year. You have to do well this year because you got to go out and get the job done. But maybe next year should be a definite big peak here coming up.
I think we started. I think against Southeast we started maybe 3 seniors, which Justin Stone at linebacker. Coming to think of it, maybe it was we had 2 interior linemen that were seniors also, but other than that, it was juniors and sophomores.
Got any favorite TV shows you watch? Do you have any time to watch TV at all?
Yeah, not much with a bunch of homework and practice, but when I do watch practice, when I do watch TV, it's probably The Big Bang Theory or That 70s Show.
That's The Big Bang Theory, I think, moved to 8 p.m. on Mondays. That's kind of tough. 8 p.m. is early for TV viewers, but you still probably check that out a little bit too.
Yeah.
Schoolwork. You had a lot of time for schoolwork, hitting the books pretty hard. That's a big emphasis on you too as well, the academics, right?
Yes, you know, because my dad and my coaches, you know, they make a good point that, you know, football is one thing, but you can't be out there without the grades. So, you know, it's kind of a big.
There's something to be said too. I mean, most people don't put much discussion about it. If I could beat a guy academically as opposed to beating athletically, from an athlete standpoint, that's very satisfying because they don't expect the athlete to beat the other guy academically. You beat that guy academically, and all he has ever done is academics.
Right.
You've been doing athletics too. You kick that guy's rear end there.
Yeah,
It means a lot.
yeah,
And everything's going good academically so far this year.
yeah. Everything.
What are some of the classes you got?
I take first period is German 2. I take German 2. German's one of the funnest classes I've ever been in.
You enjoy that then, yeah?
I love
Okay.
German. Second period is honors chemistry. Third period is A-push. Fourth period is English, honors English. And fifth period is weight training with Coach Rolfus. And sixth period is honors math 3.
Do you wish you had the weight training the last period of the day so you go and dress out for football
Yes.
practice on to go weight training and switch and go back to a classroom? That makes it tough, I'm sure.
Yes. Sixth period math, it just, you know, it's not boring, but just the haul up from the weight room to math back down to the weight room, it's just kind of
A lot of transition.
it is what it is. But
What is it for the rest of this year? What do you got to do to keep this thing going the right way?
you know, when you look at the next 6-7 games down there, obviously we have East at the end, but the next games up until that are very winnable games. And you know, Coach told us today, you know, we have an opportunity to run the table from here on out. And you know, looking forward, obviously we can't overlook Grimsley and Reedsville, but then we're into conference play, and you know, we have a very good opportunity to go 10-1 at the end of
So
this year.
East is the very last game, East Forsyth. You kind of like the way that schedule stacks up too, then don't you? You like to play it a little bit more each week. Each week continues to build a little bit more.
Yeah, it'll be a ride, but yeah, we're excited.
Thomas, thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you, sir.
Good to meet you. Good to see you. Look forward to seeing you in basketball season too.